Greetings everyone, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, here to bring you another retro review from past seasons of The Loud House. In today's video, we take a look at the Season 4 episode where the series pays tribute to another iconic Nickelodeon game show, and this time it takes the family's usual sibling fights to a whole new level. Today's episode is titled, How Double Dare You? First we'll discuss the plot, and then my thoughts and critiques with my final score. So, let's get right into it. The episode begins with the kids watching Double Dare, and when they find out the game is coming to Royal Woods, and when Lisa sees a prize the show is offering after she's picked for the two-person team because of her intelligence, the other siblings go through a series of challenges to see who Lisa's partner should be, and none of them make the cut. Instead, Lisa chooses her newest creation, Darebot, to be her partner, and surprisingly has to compete against Lincoln and Lenny on the show. In the end, despite how close each team was, Lincoln and Lenny emerge victorious and still give unapologetic Lisa the prize she wanted, ending the episode on a loving and slime-covered note. Well, that concludes the plot of the episode, so now we come to my thoughts and critiques. Out of every episode in the series where they make many pop culture references and pay homage to other works of media, this episode, in my opinion, is the best tribute show they've ever done, and it's anything but a disappointment in that respect. Double Dare was always my favorite game show on Nickelodeon, so understandably I set a bar for how well the Loud House would handle their version of the show, and they lived up to and exceeded my expectations. When I heard the Double Dare theme playing during the title card, I figured the writers knew exactly what they were doing, and it really showed. The game format was pretty much the same as it was in the original and the 2018-2019 reboot. The opening toss-up and physical challenges, the trivia questions, and the obstacle course in this show were quite consistent with how they would appear on the real show. Speaking of consistency, the legendary Mark Summers made a cameo as the host, which made a lot of sense considering he was the original Double Dare host in real life, and he was working as the announcer on the 2018-2019 reboot. Much like the tribute to the Hidden Temple from Season 2, it wasn't necessary to have Mark Summers voice his own character, and they could have easily gotten, at the time, current Double Dare host Liza Koshy, but I have to give credit to the Loud House crew for going the extra mile by bringing in the man who helped get this game show off the ground. However, he wasn't the highlight character of the episode. No, that honor goes to both Lincoln and Lenny, and if I'm being honest, this was one of Lenny's best moments of Season 4. Her performance in this episode proved, once again, how she's more than just an adorable airhead. She had moments of intelligence, was able to successfully complete the game show challenges, and absolutely dominated her way to victory. That war cry of hers was just whoa. Anyway, she and Lincoln proved to be the most ideal team on Double Dare, since, unlike Lisa, they were actually fans of the show and had knowledge of it. They were the only ones who were neither eliminated nor disqualified during Lisa's pre-game challenges, whether that was by luck or they actually understood how demanding the show can be, and best of all, they didn't quit like Lola ended up doing early on. They had the right balance of knowledge, challenge coordination, and overall strategy to win, especially when they put Lisa on the spot by double daring her with a question they could have easily answered for themselves. Their victory was well deserved, and yet them being there was never about winning. Besides wanting to get slimed, Lincoln only wanted to meet Mark Summers, and Lenny wanted to use the show to improve her brand as a preteen influencer. I didn't even know Lenny was an influencer, or had a brand, but now we know. Although I do have a problem with the blue team giving Lisa the prize their little sister wanted, despite knowing how she treated them before, and how Lisa really didn't deserve to be rewarded at all. I guess the apology from the red team was a good enough sign of redemption. Now, speaking of Lisa, even though she outright admitted she couldn't care less for childish buffoonery and only wanted to get on the show because of wanting to win a space capsule, kind of a weird prize to be handing out when you think about it, I can't so much blame her for trying to find the right partner to stand by her side. Her challenges, while a bit out there, were actually not that bad when it came to narrowing down her choices, since she could only choose one and she had to choose wisely. Considering Lincoln and Lenny were the only ones to make it through, it was rather surprising how neither one of them were chosen. Any one of them would have made for a good partner, although I would have personally chosen Lenny given how well she performed on TV. Instead, she chose a robot to be her partner, and that turned out to be her own undoing. She may have had a somewhat commanding lead during the game in the beginning and tied with her siblings on the other team, but her own creation had some severe drawbacks, some of which could have been easily easily corrected beforehand, and yet despite her more creative ways of using Darebot, she ultimately lost the game as a result of putting more faith in technology than humans. When you realize the robot you designed with hands can no longer use them to climb a rope, you know you messed up somewhere. You know you messed up even more when your own family is rooting against you after you dismissed them as mere humans who couldn't hold a candle to a robot's knowledge and physical skills, both of which getting thoroughly owned in front of a live studio audience. Lisa may have learned her lesson, and obviously her siblings were not going to hold a grudge against her, but this episode certainly isn't without its flaws, mostly coming from Lisa's attitude and lack of intelligence, so now we come to the negatives. First, while I understood her position on eliminating some of her siblings for not being quick enough to answer questions, even though she barely gave them enough time to answer anything, what really annoyed me about Lisa's challenges was her reasoning for disqualifying some of her sisters. Lynn jumping into the pool before being asked a question, Lana eating old pizza, and not being able to handle a minor comedic insult from Luann. Talk about short-fused pettiness. As a quick side note to that last one, Luann saying it wasn't fair to get thrown out of the challenges because she claimed Mr. Coconuts insulted her and not her. I'm sorry, but no. Yes, it was a dumb reason to get thrown out, but no, Mr. Coconut's comment came out of Luann's mouth, and yet there she was placing blame on a lifeless object. As I mentioned in my review of Director's Rut, there's a reason why she uses her puppet to do a lot of the talking on her behalf, and this episode was one of the biggest examples of unnecessary projection. You shot yourself in the foot, Luann, just own it. Anyway, my next critique is, why would Lisa put her siblings through all those challenges if she claimed Darebot was undoubtedly the most qualified candidate for the game? After all, she was the one who programmed him, so naturally you would think she would be prepared for guaranteed success without any failure, but clearly this genius didn't think her creation all the way through. Considering she neglected to program Darebot with sports trivia or something that would make him waterproof, and decided to replace those things with sauciness, sarcasm, and wit, how exactly was that smart thinking on her part? I guess she thought she was going to play athletic chess when it was really only checkers, or in this case, she thought she was competing on some athletic version of Jeopardy as opposed to a children's show. You can't say her flawed creation was a result of not fully understanding the layout of Double Dare. She may not have been a fan like everyone else, but she clearly must have known what the show was about given how her pre-game challenges were set up. I'm supposed to believe she didn't think Darebot would short-circuit at any point during a game where liquids are plentiful? You know, for a child genius, she really didn't think this one out the way you would have expected. So yeah, Darebot was not qualified for Double Dare. And yet somehow the producers of the show just allowed this thing to be Lisa's partner. How did that make any sense? Darebot was able to hook more antlers and possibly smash more eggs than any regular kid, giving Lisa an unfair advantage. Hypothetically, if Lisa waterproofed Darebot and programmed him with vast amounts of knowledge for trivia questions, she could theoretically clean sweep the whole show and her opponents would have little to no chance at winning. Look, I'm all for bending the rules of reality to accommodate the plot for cartoons in certain situations every now and again, but the official use of Darebot for the game can't be justified. At least he and Lisa lost to a team of humans triumphing over technology, and if that's the lesson they were going for, I guess everything kinda worked out. Overall, I may be biased when I say this, but this episode was fantastic just for the fact it paid tribute to Double Dare and recreated a near exact copy of the actual show in every way possible, including a guest appearance by Mark Summers. Lincoln and Lenny were the best characters of the show. Lisa gloated about humans being vastly inferior to that of machines, although she's technically not wrong about that in some regards, and yet she ended up eating her own words when her robot could no longer keep up with humans, demonstrating how machines are only as good as the geniuses like Lisa who create them. While I will never understand why Darebot was allowed to compete on the show in the first place, and what the point was to Lisa putting her siblings through her pre-game challenges if she believed her robot was already more qualified than anyone else, she at least witnessed firsthand what happens when you believe technology can surpass humans at everything. I was confused when a brainiac like Lisa sacrificed a thorough plan for the sake of gloating, effectively letting Darebot's flaws come through when she would have normally taken the measures to avoid them beforehand. I guess even the best of geniuses have their forgetful moments, but hey, she's still a kid, so cut her some slack. With that said, I give How Double Dare You an 8.5 out of 10. Well folks, that concludes my review of How Double Dare You. I will end this review with one last piece of interesting Interesting trivia. Lucy didn't know the 12th letter of the alphabet. Lori didn't know the Roman numeral for the number 50. And Lincoln was able to answer Luna's question on what their dad's middle initial was. The answer to all three questions was the letter L. That's some clever writing right there, not gonna lie. Well played, Lisa. Well played indeed. So, as far as this episode goes, what did you guys think of it? Love it? Hate it? Something you would add? Change? Keep it as it is? Let me know in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe to this channel for the latest Loud House content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video. But until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.